Everyone. My name is Matt Haynes. I'm an audiobook narrator,
And I'm Trenton Bennett, and I'm also an audiobook narrator.
and we are here to do some work, very, very serious work, which is to take some characters that we've narrated before and have them recite rock and roll lyrics. This is basically karaoke poetry slam using characters that we've done before. Why? Because it's fun. And hopefully it stirs up some interest in the type of work that we do and the type of work that our authors do. So wins all around. Okay, so this week, Trenton, can you give us a description of the character before I throw the song options at you?
Yes, indeed. His name is Braxton Thorpe, and he is a tech billionaire who, with an incurable disease, faced certain death and decided to freeze himself and finds himself awake 70 years in the future as a digital being that has been uploaded into the net. His stories take him on a lot of adventures, including getting himself into human form. But the thing is, he changes the whole course of human history by working with a team of the tech engineers that brought him into this state to change everything about mortality, everything about digital life versus physical life in the real world. And then he becomes the captain of a city sized starship, bigger really, and takes that through the galaxy. So the thing about him is he's a tech innovator and he's brilliant and he's a natural born leader, but he's someone who has a city full of people traveling the galaxy and he feels personally responsible for their well-being, their safety, while at the same time everyone's there to explore and learn and use lots of science along the way.
Who wrote this, and what's the title of the book?
So the series is called The Oort Chronicles, and it's by Robert G. Williscroft, an author whose name comes up in a lot of my work. He's a lot of fun to work with. And so this science fiction series walked through. The first novel was a lot like The Matrix. The second novel was like Asimov and Jerry Pournelle. And the third novel, which just recently, I think it's about to come out in Audible, was even further towards like Arthur C. Clarke and Robert Heinlein. So he's walking this pantheon of hard science fiction gods, and he's doing it, filling their shoes quite well.
All right, so Trenton, here are the songs that I thought might be appropriate. I've got four songs here. Funny enough, two of them are all about how the world is dying, let's get out of here. And then the other two are about the experience once you have successfully left the world. So the two that are about the world dying and getting out of here, one is Into the Void by Black Sabbath, where it's talking about launching the rockets up and out of this earth that is dying and decaying and such. And then there is Ship of Fools from The Doors, not the Grateful Dead version, but the Doors song. And believe it or not, that's essentially the same thing, except I believe that in this case we're talking about a ship that goes on the water, but we can adapt it to a starship.
Okay.
Now, the other two, which are okay, great. Off into the sunset goes the ship. Well, the camera then zooms in on what's actually going on the ship once off into the sunset. So we've got 2,000 light years from home, the Rolling Stones, which says, yeah, we made it successfully, and we're going to make it to our destination successfully, and this is working, and this is working. And you know what? It's lonely out in space, and it's a
Oh,
real
geez.
drag sort of thing, right? Okay, well, fine. The other one is much more optimistic, and that's Space Trucking from Deep Purple, which is
Oh,
like, yeah,
man.
went to this place, that's awesome. Went to this
Come
place, that's
on.
awesome. Let's keep trucking. Boom, bow, 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 boom, boom, bow, 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 boom, boom, type of thing. So, Trenton, what have you decided?
Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick breakdown. Into the Void is wicked cool. I know it really well, and it is about, I swear that would go better with the first trilogy I did in a whole separate universe that was about space travel. Okay, but The Doors, Ship of Fools, that's kind of cool, but it's a little bit too far out there. And Braxton Thorpe is definitely not one for psychedelia or wild tales of the imagination. For him, wild is a fractal sequence that he can't seem to decode on his own. So, I mean, he's a little bit more science grounded. So that said, I am surprised you didn't bring up David Bowie. Thank you. That I've talked about him a lot lately on my podcast,
Oh,
but
now wait a
that
second. There's a good reason why I didn't bring up David Bowie because we know the obvious song, right? To
yeah.
do for this. But that's about a solitary person in a tin can. That is not a person who's governing a city-sized spaceship. So I just want you to know there was some thought that went into this.
I believe it also, and I thought you might not be doing 4 years where the world has 4 years to live. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. 5 years.
five, sorry,
Give him
five
his
years.
due. Give him his due. It's at least 5 years. You get another album by that time.
It's a
Maybe an
very
album.
sad song. But
Maybe an
Space
album.
Truckers,
Yeah,
I
Space Truckers.
swear,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that sounds like, that has always sounded to me like the reason Monster Magnet exists. I swear, they listened to Space Truckers and said, that's who we need to be. And I'd
Eh.
love that, but it's just not, he's not that ragged. He
Right, right.
absolutely, he is 2,000 light years from home. That's totally
Okay.
him.
All
I love
right.
those lyrics.
Well, then, people, you're gonna love them even more once we get a treatment of them from this character's voice. Take it away.
All right. Sun turning around with graceful motion. We're setting off with soft explosion. Bound for a star with fiery oceans. It's so very lonely. You're 100 light years from home. Freezing red deserts turned to dark. Energy here in every part. It's so very lonely. You're 600 light years from home. It's so very lonely. You're 1,000 light years from home. Bell Flight 14, you now can land. See you on Aldebaran, safe on the green desert sand.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that doesn't sound like a bunch of Brits hanging out smoking pot and trying to outdo the Beatles at their own game.
There's so many elements in there because they find a Dyson sphere. They've
Mhm,
they've terraformed Mars, so there's your, your red planet. I love it.
mhm.
There's so many little references in there that could fit this storyline so well.
Well, I think then that if Disco was the soundtrack to The Martian, then there should be for this book when obviously gets turned into a movie, there should be an exclusively Rolling Stones soundtrack to this one. That's what I think.
Totally agree. Hopefully I'll get to be a creative consultant because yeah, they need Braxton Thorpe's very specific voice
That's
that's
right.
very general American and he's very logical and down to earth.
Yeah, and I think he looks a lot like you. I think they should cast you. I think we should produce this movie. Let's get it started.
Yes,
Folks,
let's do it.
comment if you want us to do this. So, in the meantime, I'm Matt Haynes.
And I'm Trenton Bennett.
And as your narrators and fledgling filmmakers, I hope that our voices and your ears meet again real soon.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Matt.